Hello, hello, hello. A very warm welcome once again to all our friends who join us on Africa Rise with Susan West. As usual, I have been counting down. Eager to see you again. It's another Sunday. As you join, please do the needful. Share this broadcast, create watch parties, and if you haven't liked and followed us on Facebook, please do so, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is all underscore Susan West on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And of course, today my guest I've got two guests, beautiful guests. I've got Zizi Cardow, who is a fashion designer, and Caroline Akorita Speerman. She is, we're going to be having to discuss about the mentoring teenagers and also having many kids than we can actually care for. So what is the right number of children that is expected for a family or an individual to have? Is it going to be something that someone makes up or your economic status should decide that? These and more we will be talking about. And right about now, I can see my guests waiting. I'm going to bring them on screen and we will take it from there. Hello, Zizi. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very good, thanks. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
You look well.
Thank you. Thank you. We've all been resting, thanks to Corona. So
right. So I'm just gonna quickly add to the stream Caroline Akorita.
Hello.
Hi, Caroline.
Hi. How are you guys doing?
Oh, you're all looking absolutely gorgeous. So
you're looking beautiful as well. Loving the hairstyles as well.
Oh, it's all mine. It's all mine. Thank you.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
I was going to say that for mine. No.
A little show off. Yes. Yes. So welcome to Africa Rise with Susan West. And both of you are people that I have been following without you really knowing that I do follow you. And of course, with Zizi, you did a video and you're so mad. You were so upset in the video. You were just, I could feel the anger. It was so personal for you that people are making babies that they can't care for. Let me just start by asking why that is so important. Why it's a personal thing for you.
Because darling, I don't know what it is about us Africans. We just feel, the more babies you have, the more it shows your reach or your life is good. But it's personal for me because there's so much pain when you see what a lot of these kids are going through. Kids are going through a lot of trauma. When I made that video was because there was a lady and her husband who actually went, they're hitting a nail into the head of this little child and poured hot water on this child simply because the child they gave their own baby that they gave to this kid to carry had fallen off his hands because he was tired and he had slept off. And it really got to me because I was like, how could you do that to somebody else's child? And it just got me going. A lot of these things actually could be avoided. That is the annoying thing. It could be avoided. If we could just have as much kids as we can take care of, that's it. A lot of problems in this country will be sorted and solved. But we tend to be, we kind of like, we have big eyes, so we tend to bite more than we can chew.
If you ask me, from my observation, if we go by that standard, it looks like there are some people who shouldn't even have even one.
At all. at all. That has also been, I made a video previously stating that not all women are supposed to have kids in the first instance, and not all women are supposed that have kids even are supposed to be called mothers. But you know, Africa as we are, you know, when you say that, people go like, oh, it's not my portion, God forbid this and that. But truth be told, not every woman really biologically is wired to have a paternal instinct or anything like that. Regardless of how we say, okay, we are women, that is what we're supposed to do. Not all women have that. Not all women actually want to have kids. But the society we live in do not allow those women to express themselves. And so everybody feel, you know, as a woman, my sole duty on this planet is just to breed, just to have kids, whether you want it, whether you can afford it, whether, you know, this lockdown alone, I know how many people that, you know, reach out and you go like, oh, my kids can't feed, I can't feed my kid. There was even one that went viral, an old woman that was going on how she was looking for somebody who's going to, well, bed her and give her, even if it's 1,000 naira to feed her kid. And I'm wondering, I'm looking at this woman, you're close to menopause, if not menopausal already. What are you doing with a little kid that you cannot feed? And how did you even get to that point that you have a kid that age, 8 years, that you cannot feed? What were you doing with your life?
Wow.
Really, I mean, not to bash anybody, I'm not shaming anybody, but you see, we could avoid a lot of those things. I have just the one. And I have one not because my ovaries are not functional. They are functional. It's simply because I've done the mathematics, and I realized I cannot afford the school fees. I cannot afford to give, if I have 2 kids, I can't afford to give them the kind of life that I would want to. And so I decided with one. And so with that one, I made sure I gave her everything that I could give to her. She went to the best of schools and everything. And people think sometimes even you're spoiling them. But you see, because you have the one, you can afford to spoil that child with, you know, good education, quality of life, and all that, you know. And once we begin to realize that darling, if you're here and see the amount of kids, 15, 16, 17, 18, they're all so sexually active that it's unbelievable. Everybody's going out there looking for aristo or older men or whatever it is to feed themselves. Not only themselves, to feed their family. And it shouldn't be like that. You should not have kids for your kid at age 10, 11 to not start looking after you. It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Caroline, I know you work with young children. You have a program where you mentor young children. How would you react to this? You know, having many more kids that you can cater for.
Yeah, I think she's very right with everything she said, and because with the project that I'm working on, it's quite very new. It started during the lockdown with the young kids. But when you look at our culture as well, sometimes the importance being attached to a male child also plays a part in it, where you have women that would have girls. Say, for instance, they have 3 girls, and because they're married to a certain family, or there's a title there, they keep looking for this male child and end up having like a football team while in the process of looking for a male child. And then sometimes you see they might say, okay, because she didn't have a male child, they chase her away and they go marry, bring in another wife and tell her to pack and things and go. And it happens a lot. So this woman would not be left with 15 girls, 7 girls, 8 girls to look after by herself. So sometimes in the process of also looking for that 1-2 male child to carry on a family name, they end up having so many kids that is just, I keep saying we need not to keep placing that importance on male children. A child is a child, be it a girl, be it a boy. Just have, like you say, have as much as you can be able to look after and give good quality life and education. And I think we'll be in a lot better place than we are now, with the rates where people are having kids left, right, and center, and they can't look after them. And it's so sad to see, because like you said, they give the kids away to be house helps at a very young age. You see an 8-year-old, 10-year-old being passed to an auntie, be passed to a family they don't even know. And then in that process, you get all this rape and all kind of molestations going on. So yeah, I think it's a very important topic we need to shed light on and really hone in on and talk about as much as we can.
Right. You know, of course, you know how it is here in London or in the UK, how there are loads of people who would want to have a football team, but they don't because the demands of taking care of a child. So when we go back home to Africa, is it something that you would say it's more of a cultural thing or a religious thing, or it's just plain economics that should decide how much children, Zizi, how many children a person should have?
I would say it's all of the above. I mean, if you outside religion, because if you put in religion, that's where we go haywire. But I think cultural and economical, when you look at the socioeconomic aspect of it, you realize that it is much more, it is to our benefit if we seriously cut down how many kids we have. A perfect scenario, you'll find a man who is probably a driver or security or whatever it is, he's earning 50K. And he's got a wife and he's got 2 kids. His salary is 50K. He's barely coping. And like my sister said, before you know it, they're looking for male. They have 5. Their salary is still 50K. It has not changed. And then what you've just done is set your children up for failure, basically.
Right. Yeah.
You've just set them up for failure because you've not given them any fighting chance. There's nothing. There's no grounds, no foundation that is right for them to stand on, because in that 50K you can barely eat, barely pay your rent, barely do anything, you know. So if we begin to learn to look at this and say, this our culture, is it to our own benefit? Oftentimes when you look at our so-called cultures, it's not so much to our benefit. It is not. Yeah. So and it amazes me that we have so much educated people in our system, and yet for some reason, when it comes to this vital decisions, people just the gray matter just evaporates. You know, they just regress. You know, it's just a simple logic. If you can afford to have 10, by all means, like I said, go ahead and do that. But if you cannot, if we decide by now and say, you know what, each family, let us with 2 kids, you will give Nigeria the next 10 years. You said the economic shift will be massive. It will be massive. People will be able to feed, will be able to clothe. Anyhow. It's painful to watch. It is painful to watch when you know that it is just a simple logic. Simple logic.
Yeah.
You know, just like Caroline, I've got 2. And you know what?
I've got just 2. Yeah.
When I lived in Nigeria, it felt like I could have 4. It felt like I could have 6. It felt as though I could even have 10 if I could. But living here, you quickly come to the realization of how it's a no-no. Like, unless you want to make it to your early grave and leave the children behind, because you cannot. So, Caroline, in your academy where you started recently mentoring young people, what would be the economic status or the backgrounds of these kids that you mentor?
So we are usually looking at children from disadvantaged background because, like Zizi said, when a driver earns 50,000 naira and he's got 5 kids, what are the fighting chances that he's giving to his kids to have anything, you know, happen for them in the future, or be able to get a good education at least, and things like that. So we are, it's for everyone from the age of 8 to 18, because when you look around, we don't heavily invest in ideas. And I work in a bank where they have a program which invest in ideas from children 9 to 11. And they the core foundation of that is financial education, because they want people to understand money, which when you look back home, we don't look at money in a certain way. We don't understand money. A lot of us, I wasn't taught about money You just learn as you go. And they did a research where as young as from age 7, the children that you've got, they've started forming spending habits based on how their parents are also spending and how they live and all that. So if you have like parents who was very lavish and is always broke at the end of the month or blah, 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 you just have the kids also subconsciously emulating that when they get older. So they never have a savings, they never have anything put away for a rainy day. But the thing that was so brilliant about the program was the financial side of it, trying to educate kids from a very young age how to manage money, and also learn them how to start a business. So I was just thinking during the lockdown, I thought, how can I tweak this to benefit kids back home in Nigeria? Well, I started with Nigeria to see how I can do that. And I looked when I was researching, there's not a lot going on for children from the age of 8, but you can see initiatives for older people for startup businesses, entrepreneurships and things like that. And I just started thinking maybe that's the age where we should start looking at, training and helping them, reforming their mindset, because they're young and we can help them grow and they can make all the mistakes that we as adults are probably making now, trying to find our way in this world. So that was how the academy came about. And I thought if we get kids to pitch a business idea, a 1 to 2 minutes business idea video, and the best ones that we know we can work with, we can put through the academy, where we can teach them things like financial education, how to do budgeting, spreadsheets, how to start up businesses and things like that. Just a whole model will be created around that. It's still a work in progress because it's like 3.5 months since I started it, but it's gotten quite a lot of really good feedback. And I've been able to bring a few people on board to help me. There are professionals in the field that I've been able to bring on board. There's teachers, there's bankers that I've got as friends. This guy. So we've just brought a lot of people that we could look at how we can put this together to really help those kids. And again, if you have children, because kids can as well, with their ideas, if you invest in their ideas and it works, they'll be able to create jobs for themselves without having to wait for someone to employ them. They'll be able to create jobs for their community, because if the business is thriving, they'll be able to employ people from around them. And I think that would be really good for a lot of things, for them to benefit from the program. It's still a work in progress, but I think it's a really good one. I think is needed because we need to start looking at other things. I mean, most times with the way I'll speak of Nigeria, it's either politics. A lot of people want to get in there because they feel like it's quick money. It's a do or die affair, and it's ridiculous. And we have farming, agriculture, things that they can invest and put money that will bring so much money into the country, but everyone is just so focused on oil and politics. And I was saying that thank God for the music and movie industry that's coming and sort of taking people out of that madness of oil and politics. And giving job opportunities to so many, and it's moved a lot of people away from that. So, I mean, focusing on ideas and seeing, because there's a lot of talented children out there. And you can see on social media, some of them are so young. You see them praising somebody who's...
Akorita, I'm going to come back to you. Whilst you were talking, I was just thinking, Zizi, that with your star power, with this passion that you've displayed in public space, is there something that you're thinking about doing, using your position, your name, and your brand to begin to sensitize, to educate people as to how their children are not going to a better place when they do give them away as nannies at a very tender age, as house helps and so on and so forth, or send them off to live with uncles or relatives who eventually end up abusing them. And there's something wrong with the Nigerian society, I must say, because I grew up in Nigeria. So I don't understand why people can treat children who are not biologically theirs like equally. Like they don't have the empathy they end up abusing it. It's almost like it's a cultural thing. Is it because they don't understand or someone hasn't told them? So is there something you're thinking about doing with your position and, to begin to sensitize people in this regard?
Well, I would say this is what I've just started doing, talking about it. I've never been one for social medias and things like that. Of past years, you guys will notice I've never been one to come out to speak or to do anything on social media. I've been an introvert, but I mean, I decided the more I speak about, like we're having this conversation now. This is what I'm hoping that eventually we'll start having discussions about these things and talking about it. I know a few people that reached out to me. Quite a few people were like, you know what, it's a good thing you came up with this and you're saying this, because these are topics that are kind of like taboos to talk. Nobody wants to even go near them. So I've decided with my platform, I'm going to talk about those subjects that people are shying away from, things that are so in our face and they're so important to us in our everyday life, because I believe strongly that for this nation to move forward, it has to start from the homes. It definitely has to start from the home, because if you don't have anything to impart into the lives of your children, you obviously would have nothing to impart to the nation, and those children in turn will not be able to impart anything. They said garbage in, garbage out, right? So I decided with my platform, I'm going to talk about those things that I feel and I know are our core underlying issues that people just want to sweep under the carpet, and we're going to bring these things to light and we're going to talk about it. Like we're talking about these children, I want to be able to also, the last video I just posted is addressing women who go through all sorts of things just to have kids and sleeping with their securities or going out, doing all sorts of crazy things, even down to those that know that because they have medical situations and they still go ahead and they have kids. I've known a friend who she was told she could not have kids, not because there's anything wrong, but her heart cannot take it. But because, she was married, she wanted to be a wife, she wanted to, typical Nigerian thing. She went ahead, got pregnant, 6 months into the pregnancy, she died. A year later, her husband got married to somebody else and his life moved on. So these are the issues I want to bring out, I want to talk about. So eventually to create that momentum, that awareness that, and Nigeria is a place that people just tend to don't pretend that they don't know what is going on or what they're supposed to do until it starts trending or until people start talking about it. Then they would, start thinking about it. I also say this, Nigeria is the one place that women go through 3 different kinds of marriages. And these are all the things I want to bring to light. You do your traditional, you do your registry, you do the white wedding, and you still don't know your rights. And they will sit there and they're thrown out of the homes, like my darling just said, and you're stuck with 12 children, 10 children, because your in-laws have thrown you out of the house. These are all the issues I want to bring to light. Just last year, I had for my Christmas giveaway, I had a collaboration with a lawyer, and the idea was, we had like a sip and shop. So the idea was for women coming in, as you're coming in to shop, you're getting a free legal marital advice on your rights as a woman in the home. Wow! And this is just something that I've decided I'm going to start doing. So.
That's fantastic.
Thank you for picking up on this. And yes.
Wow, that's a brilliant idea. Brilliant. Akorita, I wanted to talk to you about, I know you went skydiving. You've done many crazy things that is not easily associated with Black women, especially continental African women. Why would you go to that length of jumping off an airplane? Like, it's hard enough for me to get on a plane to go back home.
I know. When I look back now, I don't really do that. But yes, I did. Just like, yeah.
So what was it you were trying to do achieve with that?
To raise awareness and then raise money for the Great Ormond Street Hospital here in London. My friend, one of my friends, she her son was born, I think, with a a very rare illness. And if it wasn't for the hospital, he wouldn't have been alive today. So she was looking for a way to like kind of like, you know, say thank you back to the hospital and give back and raise money and give back. So she called upon her friends and nobody would do it. So she's now called me because I do a lot of events. I do a lot of charity events out here in Norwich. And she's like, oh my God, please, Caroline, can you help me? Because I've got all these people, but they won't do it. So I said, okay, don't worry. Since it's something to do with charity, you know, I'm always up for it. So I said, that'll be a good challenge I want to take on. So I had to call a few of my friends, and I know I have a few crazy ones who would do that anyway with me. So yeah, and it wasn't too much of a problem to get. I got about 6 really great women, 6 or 7 of them. And we got together, started raising money and started talking about it and counting down. And we raised quite a lot of money. And then we went and did the skydive. And it was the most humbling and unexplainable experience ever. If you haven't done it, go give it a go.
Okay,
or just do it for charity. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm not going to advise anyone to do it because I'm so scared. Well, I'm just going to acknowledge Tommy Lee. I can see you. And Diane Megway Smith. Yes, Akorita. Diane is here watching.
Hiya.
Yes. She says that happened to my mom. I think she's talking about you know, having kids or being taken advantage of. I'm not sure what she's referring to. So one of the other things that I also want to find out is how you're able to connect. Akorita, sorry, this is for you. Like how you're able to connect what you're doing here with the kids back home in Nigeria. How are they benefiting? How are they benefiting?
Well, it was a very easy one for me to do when I started the platform, because we used to go for a lot of they do a lot of like the Race for Life, Color Rush, and all that charity events out here. And we used to go to, me and my friends would go to a lot of them. And I just started thinking, why don't I create something? Because sometimes you think about a lot of things and you say, oh, it's easy. You can do something instead of just sitting and complaining about it. We don't have a lot of I would say African events that is more focused on charity and things like that. It's always the massive ones are always done by the what can I say, white people or that. Yeah. So I just like, oh, I'm sure I can, because I have a good network of friends who love to go out, they love to dress up, they love a good time. What can I do with that handful network that I have? To create something that could give back to home and also to here where I live, because there's no harm raising funds for the charities here and also doing that for back home. And that was when I created Akorita, the Spirit of Motherhood. So I would put together black tie events, and then I would get my friends they will all come out dressed up really nicely. People like to dress up, so why not? So I created an environment where it looked really absolutely amazing, where they would come away for the weekend. And London was almost like Lagos, where you needed to get away from it at some point. That's how I look at London. And so I started telling them, you know, you need a weekend. I live a little bit away in the countryside. So I started advertising it as a weekend away in the countryside, where they can come out, you know, have their head down, have a good time, but still, you know, learn something or two about different type of charities, what's going on around them, because some people just live in a bubble where they don't know anything else going on outside, you know. And I created that, and I used that to raise money for, I think the first ones I raised was a charity in Lagos. They were looking after taking kids on the streets, so out of school kids, and putting them back into school and paying their school fees and all that. And I thought that was really, really commendable. And it was run by a very young lady. I think she was probably about 30 or so. And I was so blown away with that someone that young is able to set up something like that back home and just taking kids out of the street and putting them back because they couldn't afford to pay their school fees. And that again boils down to parents having so many kids that they can't take care of. So they send them out there to sell all kind of things on the traffic. And it's so scary because if you haven't been to Nigeria, I don't know, to kind of like try to describe the way we drive out there. It's madness. And you have these young kids hawking all kind of things, you know. So they kind of like take was the ones that can pay their school fees and put them back into school. So
Right.
that was the first event that I did, and we raised some money for them and sent out to them. And I also raised money for charities here in the UK. We've done for breast cancer here in the UK and also back in Lagos and Zimbabwe. And then we just continued because people enjoyed it so much. And I introduced like our cultural dances, cultural events.
Unfortunately, you had sent in some videos that I would have loved to show, but we couldn't get on the system. I saw you're raising, you're now a fundraiser and you're doing so good. But I'm going to come back to you. Let me have a little read of some of the comments. So Indoku Hadisin says, the irony is that people who have limited job opportunities have more time to make kids. To refute birth rates, you must create jobs. It's that simple. Do you agree? It is true. And I don't mind the devil's workshop. Yes, when people are out of jobs and there's nothing to do, then they end up sitting around and making many more babies. So Zizi,
yeah, but then there's something called condom. Simple as condom. Family planning. You know, simple. If they can afford a bottle of beer, they can afford condom.
I like she's just a straight shooter. No dilly-dallying, no sandwiching your words. Yes, absolutely. And Shegun Okay says, Zizi Cardow, go my diva, you make me proud. And Anador is saying hello. And Jean Johnson says, hey, Zizi Cardow, good to see you here, sis. It's Gloria Johnson. That's your friend. Well, so Zizi, what would you say that the government in Nigeria, if you had an opportunity with the people in authority, what would be your recommendation to these people as far as laws, enactment of laws or stuff to curb this situation?
Oh my God. I said it before and I'll say it again. If I had my way, the next 50 years, 2 kids, that's it. That is it. You know, nobody's going to have more than 2 kids unless your financial status is looked at and you don't earn anything less than $1 million a month. You know, other than that, keep it. Just, deal with it.
Some religious person will be so mad at you for talking like that because you're thinking, I know.
You're
not God to decide why, how many babies I should have when I do make a certain amount of money, when I'm allowed to make, like, what gives you that power?
Yeah, it's not a problem. Well, like I said to them, if you can look after it, fine. If not, don't go around begging and making a nuisance of yourself. Most especially, though, for the kids. It's the kids I'm worried about. It's not so much as the parents, because half the people that get married here, they have no clue why they're even getting married in the first instance. A lot of people are doing things simply because they feel is a rite of passage. This is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to go to school, come out, look for a husband, get married, have children. It's a rite of passage. If you ask 90% of the women getting married in Nigeria why they're getting married, they have no clue. They don't even know, So if you're doing if you're getting married and you feel you can have children, and I keep saying you can look after them, fine. But if you cannot, please, for the sake of the unborn children and for the ones you've already had, just leave it as it is, because it does not make sense that when we're talking about these kids, we're not even talking about the ones that sit at home. Just lately, there was a story I heard of a guy who they had a child, and for the guy had been molesting this child from 1 year till now she's 4 years. And the woman in question, when she now took the matter to the police station, was only when the man had cut the girl open with the scissors in trying to get into her vagina.
Oh no!
Yes.
Oh
yes,
Lord!
Yes, and when she was asked why she kept it this long, she said because she thought he was going to change. She knew he had been molesting her, but the scissor was now where she drew the line. Now, will you tell me such a woman even knew what the word marriage is about? She has no clue. And it goes back to those, like we said, that are not even supposed to have kids at all. Now, this kind of people will go ahead and have more kids for this bastards, this beast. I'm sorry I'm using this word. Only for the men to be doing their target practice on these other children. It does not make sense to me. So why would such people be allowed to? If you ask me if I have my way and I'm in politics or I have a way to influence, such people, both male and female, will be sterilized.
I agree with
totally
you. I totally
agree. Sterilized.
Because the society have become a place where, because the men know that worst case scenario, they're going to give a little something to the person in charge of the case. And they'll be they'll be left off the hook. Yeah. And the truth of the matter is, what you've just said now, imagine
that.
I'm scared. I'm terrified listening to what you have just said.
A 38-year-old man, not a 38-year-old man. So you can imagine if more kids they give birth to more kids, what's going to happen to those ones?
Is that his own? Is that his biological child? Is that his biological child?
It's his own child. It's his own child. Yes, his own child.
Oh my goodness, Caroline.
His own child. I have my way, like you asked me.
My head, I
will sterilize people.
I'm trying to step away from this conversation because I can't even take it.
No.
I can't even handle it. Like, how does a society function progressively when you have
this
like this allowed to walk the streets?
And that's the worst
part.
I don't know.
You asked me. One of the things is, yes, 2 kids, and if you find you're an offender of any sort, you will be sterilized. 3, couples before they get married will be assessed psychologically before they're even allowed to tie the knot of any sort. That would be what I would effect if I'm given the opportunity.
Right. Yes. Oh my God, Caroline, in your work that you do with the kids, especially in Nigeria, is there an opportunity for them to be able to, in mentoring them? Is there an opportunity for them to be able? Because I know a lot of these kids might be abused some way, and is there an opportunity for you to get to also see that it's not just about getting financial knowledge, how to not do you have that room where you can begin to find out and help some of these young kids who might be abused and don't have anyone to
so like I said, it's barely we're still crawling. It's at the crawling stage at the minute, but it's doing so well. So as we create the e-learning programs and go along, I've worked with a lady who runs an all-girl charity, and it goes from different kind of cases, rape, all sorts. Like one of what you've just described as well is one of the things she's had to counsel the girls about and counsel. So she's a counselor. So we'll be bringing her and then having her put a program together with her help and see how we can assist the kids. Another good thing that we're looking at doing is working with the kids through animation, because I feel like they are more into they'll be more into learning with that kind of scenario. So we'll have a scenario where we've already put out the first one, although not publicly, but it's all done like an introduction thing. But we're now looking at using animation to sort of like speak to the kids, and they can have a session where we talk about different kind of sexual abuse. We talk about, another thing that I noticed, with parents as well is we name different private parts of our body. Like we give it fancy names or give it names that
we're not able to say as it is.
As it is. So and then when you look at things like this and you get someone abusing the child and calling it something different, the child doesn't probably know because the parent calls it an orange or the parents calls that. So the person is not saying, "Oh, show me your orange," and things like that. So they're not relating. So it's like a lot of mixed messages. So
Right.
there's a lot of work we are hoping we'll be able to achieve, where we the kids can have like an interaction section, but with in an animated form, where they'll have like a diary session, and they'll probably be on their own, watch it, and then we'll go back in and ask them a few questions. What do they think about it? Can they express themselves a little bit more? Even with the e-learning, we're also doing it like more of it's not the conventional kind of education, but more on the kids kind of like really looking inwards and looking at themselves and speaking to themselves and having a moment with themselves and asking themselves who they are. And you'll be surprised the kind of answers that come back. So there's a lot of things which will be introduced on as we pick up and as we go. There's a lot of things that we're looking at: mental well-being, and how kids are interacting even with their family and things like that. And with the kids, we have them with their family, so we're not they're not coming on board on their own. We're speaking to them through their parents, so their parents are always going to be there. And when we have we have either a Zoom meeting, a Zoom learning. We've got kids as young as 13. One of them, her business idea, she wants to be a motivational speaker. And when you have somebody that young that wants not to sell a product, but to sell a service that would impact humanity, it's something we should nurture and grow, because everybody wants to either sell something to make money, but she wants to inspire people.
Other people.
Peers her age mate would listen to her as well, because they're around that. It's good to have teenage role models as much as we want adult role models as well.
Yeah.
So you know what? Yesterday I was a speaker on a program on Veiled Women's Conference, and one of the things that stood out to me was that back home, because like Zizi was saying, because young girls grow up and it looks as though when other people are aspiring to be this and that, presidents, senators, CEOs, as girls, women, all they're dreaming about is to become somebody's wife.
I know, right?
Yeah.
If this, yeah. So if these young children can be mentored, these young girls can be mentored to understand, because one of the Zizi, when you were talking, you said the man's wife have known what has been going on, but she didn't speak about it until he used scissors. Why? Because one of the reasons why I suspect she might have not said anything is because she has no economic power whatsoever. And the fear of speaking up and being thrown out of that marriage, not necessarily because she's so in love with her husband and so she can't speak up.
Yeah.
Because such a person, all her life growing up, marriage would have been something she looked upon as an achievement. So when we begin to mentor young girls to understanding that, yes, you can marry if marriage is your thing, that, yes, you can marry whoever you want, but you should be be empowered. You should have an education, not necessarily through university, but some kind of like what Akorita does, financial education, any kind of education. When you mentor young girls to understanding that the difference between them and those men who they end up becoming wives to or mistresses to is that person knows how to turn 1 naira into 2 naira, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
then when women are empowered financially, socioeconomically, women are empowered, then they don't have to sit down and take nonsense. And then the men will begin to, I have never seen a man who will disrespect a woman who knows herself, a woman who knows her onions, a woman who has value after bedroom issues, who has a little more value of herself and what she brings on board. Don't you? So now to Zizi, how would you think, do you think that you'll be able to, because you're back home in Nigeria, I'm thinking there's a lot I want to do, because living, when I was in Nigeria, I mentored young people, but it was on a one-on-one basis. And now I feel like in my spirit, there's so much I want to do and I can't do it all. You know, you're back home in Nigeria, and then you have all this, you have a platform, you have a name. Do you think that this would be something that would be you want to look into, as to mentoring young girls, teaching young girls, opening up their minds to understanding that they can be all this, and marriage can be something that they can choose whether they're interested in, not necessarily because they need to get out of a financial or economic situation that they are not happy with?
Yeah, darling, it's already something I would say I've started. Like the last video, I said it's something I'm going to do, and I'm doing it. So unfortunately, with the lockdown thing, what I had in mind was to I was speaking with some young man, and we're looking at ways where we will start these talks from the schools, go to schools, and find how we would be aligned with their curriculum in such a way that we'll have days that will come in to speak different schools and different things like that. And going back to, darling, the financial aspect, it's just not only the financial aspect. Our women have to be empowered even spiritually, psychologically. It's not just financially. And it's that psychological and spiritual aspect that I'm very much chasing. Because a lot of times our kids are brought up with this knowledge that as a woman, you're nothing but you're going to be a property of a man, whether they have money or not. So you even find cases where most of the women that sit, and I can tell you in affluence, and their husbands are sleeping with their kids, and they know. It's not about the money. Some, yes, it's all about, the status. How am I going to leave this Jeep? How am I going to not be Mrs. XYZ?
Right.
Those things are all mental things. The fact that you've valued a title over your own psychological well-being, your own spiritual well-being, even now to that of your children. And these things are now passed on to their children, their daughters. The daughters now know that, perfect scenario, you have a boy and a girl in a home. The girl is always woken up to go and clean, sweep, wash the plates. The boy is allowed to sleep, wake up whenever he wants to. He can go and play football outside. The girl has been engineered to know that she's nothing but a wife. And you have to be a wife material. That is the language, wife material. Your mother is talking to you. Don't you know you're going to be a wife someday? That is all she's telling you. Whatever she's imparting into you is how you're going to be somebody's property. So those are the things that I feel that we really need to start addressing. So when we're empowering our children, let us, as parents, and that's why I keep going at the parents. The parents need to really start, redirecting the way their thought process is going. Right. When you're talking to your children, talk to them not gender-based. Talk to them not with the fact that, you're going to end up, even with all your degrees, you're going to end up in somebody's kitchen, which is what a lot of them do. So you find a girl, those that even have money, they rather use their money, buy up a guy, tush him up, and they sit in there, and the guy, in trying to feel emancipated, will be beating them like there's no tomorrow with their money.
Yes,
you understand. So there's I'm really, like your question said, yes, it is something that I really want to do. It is something that I'm passionate about, and I really want to. I mean, once this whole thing is through, I see myself going outside of my my comfort zone and really talking about it. I know, a few of my friends from the last video was like, oh, Zizi, you're going to create a lot of enemies. I was like, well, somebody's got to do it.
Yeah. And we need voices. We need voices. We need people speaking out. We need voices like yours to come out and talk about things like this, because people would listen. I think you've been in the fashion industry for decades and decades and decades. So you've got that platform, and as Susan rightly said, you've created a name. You've worked hard for that brand, and a lot of people know they listen. Just the way they listen to the celebrities, and they have such huge gatherings. We need more people to be vocal with their platforms, to come out in droves, and that's why sometimes it saddens me with a lot of the celebrities, musicians back home, where yes, the upbeat music is all good, but can you put out something with a message behind it, with something that
seriously, yes.
The way they listen to when they're singing about tramadol and it's going in and they're thinking, oh, I'm gonna go try. Like, that's the way. If you send out a positive message and they constantly listen to it, it would also change their mindset.
Yeah,
so
because darling, not to cut you, I was discussing with a friend of mine before sometime, and we're like, you know what? The reason we think the is all going to the dogs here simply because we've allowed those that have nothing to say to speak so much. All these years they've been making so much noise. They've been talking. I mean, if not for the COVID, the way some of our Instagram girls are going, I mean, it was almost it was crazy. It was stupid.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think the COVID just shut everything down. Thankfully, it just shut it down. The rate they were going, it was not nice at all. So I just said to my friend, I said, you know what? It's because those that have something to say are not saying it. So we're allowing these empty vessels to make all the noise.
Right.
So between me and her, we were like, you know what? We'll just start talking any which way we can talk. Yeah. She's very good at writing, so she's using her platform to write, and I'm talking. So we just decided we're just going to start talking.
Yeah,
you know,
there's Adekunle Gold. He has a song say, "Any washe, ariwo kani musical, empty barrel, lo ma pariwo." I love the song, and he makes a lot of sense. You know what? When we're given a platform, it is our responsibility. You know, the thing with us back home is the thinking has to change.
Yeah,
we have a mindset of me, take. What is there in it? Me. So we've not
everybody's hand is out.
Yeah, we've not gotten to the point where
you know why? Because we come from struggle. We come from broken, dysfunctional homes. So all our thought is me, struggle mentality, me, myself, and I. We have nothing to give to. Many kids are not grown up in love. They're not grown up in, they're not taught to how to give. It's always how to grab. Go and meet your auntie. Go and meet your uncle. Go and meet the entitlement mentality.
Mentality. Yes. Oh my God, Caroline. Please go ahead and tell us, you do so much. I just want to give you a few more minutes. We have a few more minutes before the hour is on. Talk about, tell everyone about your foundation, your academy, and how the young kids from Nigeria in Africa can
benefit from it
and benefit from it. Yes.
All right, so the whole idea behind it is to take a kid's business idea. Any child from age 8 to 18 can go on the website. It's called akorita.co.uk. You can go on there, you can register. There's a form there, and there's a bit there where you can upload your 1 to 2 minutes business pitch video on there. And we are rolling out currently in Nigeria, and we're also looking at Ghana. And we're looking at the rest of Africa as well as to see what we can do with the whole scheme. But the most important thing is looking at investing in ideas and bringing their idea from it just being an idea to a finished product that we now put on the shelf and create a business around that. And they would go through so many different journeys where they will learn different life skills that I think will benefit them in the long run. And I think we really need to start investing in our young, as young as possible, because that's where we're able to teach and culture and nurture them and tell, you can do this, you can create job opportunities for yourself. You can learn so many things. You can go to school, but we are now looking at making entrepreneurship as a second career choice or even a first career choice. You can, there's so much you can learn and do. So we're encouraging children to come on, to sign on and be part of it. So you can find me on Facebook on Akorita Caroline, or on Instagram Akorita __, and or you can find our page as well on Facebook, Akorita Academy for Young Entrepreneurs as well, or just go to akorita.co.uk and you'll find us. Yeah, so it's a lot going on for young people.
Whilst you were talking, it just came to my mind that it's easy. It's good to have an idea, but when you live in a society where your idea can remain an idea till you're old and gone, Are you also are you also thinking like doing something like the Dragon's Den? You know, you're here, you have a good reach to people who have a little who are more a little more affluent, and sometimes the very little contributions that they can make will make the whole lot of difference for
Yeah.
back home. So is that something that somebody pitches and you like the idea, you mentor them, and then what next? Do you just leave them?
No, we work with them all the way. So we'll have, say, for example, if we're opportune to have someone like Zizi come on as a mentor. So we're also looking at strategically, like placing young kids with mentors that would match them. So say, for instance, we have a girl who's into organic skincare.
Right.
She's just 15 years old, but she's into all that. She loves it. And so we would look for someone who's done that
Right.
in that area of business. So we want to match the mentor for mentor. So if there's someone who wants to go into fashion, I mean, Zizi will be a perfect mentor for that person to say, oh, we would like to pair you with her. And then maybe if when you're free, you've got time, once a week, we can have like a Zoom tutoring or mentoring sessions where you would come on and have a look at what they've created, give them a little, because you've started it, you've done it, you've got that wealth of experience that you can impact onto them, which is what we need to start sharing. And, you know, because we've done all that, we've made our mistakes. So we don't want them making the same mistakes we've made, you know, trying to get, you know, find our way in this huge world of ours.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just trying to avoid and say they're 8-year-old kids now, they're 8 to 18-year-old. Can you imagine 4, 5 years, 6 years down the line, they've made all that mistake, they've come up with an, even if it does say, for instance, the business doesn't, you know, hold on and work, and it is a trial, you have to keep going. You know, they learn and they make all the mistakes. And when they before they even get to their 20s, their 30s, they would have learned so much from it that they will start making the right choices.
That is everything that young people need to have to make the mistakes when they're really young, and so they don't spend the rest of their middle age trying to fix a problem.
Like me, I'm trying to do everything now at once, everything, like,
right,
because I'm a very creative person. But I think if someone has seen me when I was that age, or my parents, because we don't come from that culture, we're not from that. Like you rightly say, you know, the boys are, you know, they're giving so much. I don't know the importance.
They're made to feel like the boys are made to feel like kings, and
so much importance attached to a born child.
The females are made to feel like you are just there to be at the beck and call.
Clean up after them.
Yeah. Zizi, please give us your final words.
Well, my final word will be for women everywhere to stay strong. You know, find your inner you, love you, choose you first, above every other thing. Choose you first, because this life is just one, honestly. And if you've not enjoyed it or lived it, then what's the point, really? So you just have to understand that your happiness is just in you, in your hands, is in nobody's hands, and you don't need any man or anybody to validate you, really.
Right.
Love yourself, love your children.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't mind, I can connect Zizi and Caroline, because I feel like there's so much that can some kind of beneficial
I see what she's doing as wonderful, and it's amazing. Sadly, here in Nigeria, you look at it, you find a kid who is brilliant with mathematics or something like that. Highest a kid is going to get is Indomie is going to give them a packet or something, or whatever it is. They just give them some foodstuffs. And then Big Brother is getting 85 million. You know, our priorities don't make sense. So really, what are the kids looking up to? We have no moral, a role model, none to look forward to. You know, so we have a generation of Instagram kids who, if you ask who is their role model, they'll tell you, you know, Wizkid or what is it, Gaga or something like that, or Kardashian, something like that. You know?
Oh wow!
No, it's
one of the things that
I really, my darling, I commend you. What you're doing is absolutely fantastic, and I'm looking forward to how it's going to happen here in Nigeria.
Oh no, we started it in Nigeria, although I'm here, but it's for back home in Nigeria. and Ghana. So we've got Nigeria and Ghana at the minute.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so it's more African based because I feel like whatever funds we raise here will go a long way in helping more people because of the exchange rates, and all that. So you can get very little here, but
That's
make
fantastic.
a massive difference back home. Yeah.
Oh, well, Helen D, it looks like you came in late today. Misplaced priority, Helen D says misplaced priority.
It is.
Well, I just want to say a big thank you to Zizi Cardow and Caroline Akorita for honoring our invitation on Africa Rise. I look forward to, in the future, us collaborating anyhow, because I am all up for educating the girl child, empowering women, supporting women, sensitizing them to understanding the power of women.
Absolutely, yeah.
And until we have a society where they have respect and regard for women, and that respect and regard is not going to come on a platter to the women.
We have to take it.
Take it.
Yeah.
We have to take it. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you. Lovely to meet you all. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining us on Africa Rise with Susan West today. Today, we just took it easy. The ladies were talking. We were talking, and we were making a lot of sense and bringing a lot of, points across. As far as the girl child goes, it is our responsibility to begin to, on the African continent, to begin to allow the girl child to appreciate who she is as a woman, and understanding that being a girl child is not a weakness, is not a disease, and that she has a place in this world that only she can occupy. And so let's begin to mentor them, sensitize them, educate them, empower them to appreciating themselves. Zizi Cardow was here to talk about how we shouldn't be making many more babies than we can cater for. And of course, I had Caroline Akorita, who is mentoring young kids all around the world, especially here in London, in Nigeria, and in Ghana. So please contact them, especially with Akorita's Academy, if you have young kids that need to be mentored. And so thank you so very much for joining us. Remember to like and follow us on Facebook. It is _Susan West. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is _Susan West. All right. And until next Sunday, as usual, in our usual style, I will be announcing who the next guest is going to be as we go into the week. Take care and God bless you. Bye-bye.